how to identify, understand, and defend against common gaslighting structures. People gaslight for a lot of different reasons. People gaslight in a lot of different ways, consciously, unconsciously, overtly, covertly, proactively, reactively, offensively, defensively. There are two very common linguistic structures that people use when they try to gaslight you. The first is a very common of, we've already talked about that. You have some issue, you feel like the issue is unresolved, so you try to bring it up again, and they say, but we've already talked about that. Now imagine you're out riding your bicycle, and you crash and you break your leg. So you call your partner, they come get you, they take you to the hospital, and the hospital fixes your leg. But then later that night, you're back at home, and you look down and you notice there's still a bone sticking out of your leg. And you say, oh my God, look at my leg. They probably wouldn't say, but we've already gone to the hospital. They would probably take you back to the hospital to fix the unresolved issue. So when they say, we've already talked about that, they kind of acknowledge that there's an issue, but they don't want to talk about it again. And this could be for three reasons. The first reason could be that they're afraid if they talk about this unresolved issue, it might bring up other issues that might not be solvable. This is kind of like people who are afraid to go to the doctor because the doctor might find something wrong with them, and that means they're going to die. So they avoid this by not going to the doctor. A second reason might be that they understand that there's an issue, but they just don't want to get blamed for it. They're afraid you're going to try to blame them for the issue. So they're more concerned with not getting blamed than actually fixing the issue. A third reason could be that they want you to kind of go off on your own and fix the issue. They don't want to involve themselves in this. So what do you say when they say, we've already talked about this? Simply say this. Put yourself in a very emotionally neutral state and say, yes, we have talked about it and I appreciate it, but I feel like there's still some issues I need to work through. Can we talk about it again? Can you help me? And see what they say. If they say, okay, sure, we'll talk about it, that's good. But if they dig in and they refuse to talk about it still, you have to kind of go with the nuclear option. You have to push the boundaries a little bit. You have to say something like, well, I understand you don't want to talk about it, and I suppose I could resolve this issue on my own. But that kind of makes me feel like I'm alone in this relationship, and I don't really like that feeling. In fact, this could be a deal breaker. Would you like to talk about this issue? Would you like to talk about this issue again or not? And just put it out there. Would you like to talk about this issue again or not? And let them figure out what to say. If they still dig in and refuse to talk about it, then you might have some thinking to do. This might be an incompatibility problem. The second most common gaslighting structure is, where is this coming from? You have this issue, you try to bring the issue up, and they say, where is this coming from? This is a classic ad hominem attack. Ad hominem is Latin for against the person. We hear an argument, we don't like the argument at all, we don't want to engage in the argument at all, so we attack the person making the argument. And this is a kind of an attempt to shame you into not bringing up the argument. Where is this coming from? It's kind of like, how dare you even discuss this with me? Why would you even think so low to try to discuss this with me? And so this right off the bat is a kind of a big red flag. So you can say something like this. If they say, where is this coming from? You can say, this is coming from a desire to resolve an issue that might be harming our relationship. Are you willing to talk to me about this or not? And see what they say. If they still dig in and refuse to talk about it, say, well, I suppose I could work this out on my own, but that makes me feel like I'm alone in this relationship. And I don't like being alone in a relationship. It kind of defeats the purpose. This could be a red flag. What should we do? And leave it up to them. Now, these will work, but they can seem very, very intimidating to say these things. But paradoxically, when you are calm and relaxed and you assert yourself, that will almost make them want to talk to you. That will convince them to talk to you, because people gaslight generally because they can get away with it. As soon as you set your boundaries and assert yourself, they'll realize they can't get away with it. And paradoxically, whenever you assert yourself, it makes you much more attractive. It makes you much more valuable. So you'll find that using these patterns will stop them from gaslighting with these two linguistic structures and all other linguistic structures. You will have asserted yourself in the relationship, and you will have trained them to not treat with disrespect. So try these patterns out and see how they work. To learn more about how you can improve your communication skills, check out the links below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.